Hello and welcome back to another Driving Empire list. Today, I will be covering 5 features that are in the game but have been forgotten. By forgotten, I mean that the community doesn't give these features any attention. Keep in mind that just because you or one of your friends uses one of these features doesn't mean that the feature isn't forgotten, because you are still a part of a small group of people that actually uses it. There may be other features that are also forgotten, but these are the first 5 that I could think of and noticed. Now, I could be wrong with some of these features, but all of this is just based on what I've seen while I've been playing this game. Just a little note before we get to this list, according to YouTube statistics, only 4% of you guys watching are actually subscribed, so please consider subscribing because I would really appreciate it. Anyways, let's get straight to this list. This game has 2 cities. One of them is used quite a lot because of the fact that the airport is in it, so people go through the area quite a lot. It also has the boat dealership and the air vehicle dealership, but they're not used that much. The second city, which is the bigger one and the one we're talking about in this video, is across the water, but people barely use it, and I think that it is because of some fairly simple reasons. First things first, it's confusing to even try reaching this city on land, but that is not the main reason. The main reason is that there isn't absolutely anything to do in it, so you'd get bored pretty quickly. The skyscrapers that are in there are really low quality, so they just don't even look good. There's a dock, which is kind of cool, but still not a good reason to go there. And a parking garage, but there's another one in the smaller city, so that one is kind of useless. I feel like if the developers would put some races into this city, put some dealerships in it, as well as make it easier to access, it would definitely be a really popular area because cities tend to be super popular. Just look at how popular Los Santos is in GTA 5. But yeah, in its current state, there's absolutely no reason for you to visit it, and it's just kind of a forgotten part of this game's map. There's 2 highways in Driving Empire, but I wouldn't be surprised if most of you didn't even know about the second one. The highway race, which is literally the most popular race in this game, is located on the main and much longer highway, while the other highway is just kind of sitting there off to the side. It used to have a purpose, which was going towards the circuit race, but now that you can easily teleport to any race, there's literally no point for you to use this highway other than maybe being unique or something. Most people don't even drive in the direction towards this highway, so it's kind of just another reason that makes this highway so much more forgotten. So how could you revive it? Well, there's only one way that I can think of. Instead of having 2 separate highways like we do right now, these highways should be connected and made into a big loop. This game actually used to have a highway which was one massive loop, but that got removed a long time ago. Having a loop would be really useful for grinders who just make money by driving instead of doing races. Instead of having to stop each time they reach the end of the highway, they'd simply never have to stop, and there could be a second highway race which would be far longer than the current one and would make you a lot more money. The highway race that we have right now would stay in the game, but the second one would also be there, so you can choose which race you want to do. A shorter one for less money or a longer one for more money. The Mountain Dash is a fun race located in the hill-like area of this game's map. It starts off at a high point in the mountains and goes down a really fun road with a bunch of turns and some nice straights. Doing this race with friends can genuinely be lots of fun because it takes some skill to do properly, so it's really funny when you mess up or when your friends messes up and ends up missing a corner or maybe even a checkpoint. I personally do this race quite a bit, especially for my videos because I'm usually with just one other friend, so the circuit race ends up being unavailable and there's no better way for us to test the handling of our cars. The reason this race isn't used is fairly simple. People usually do races in this game to make money, and this race isn't that great for making money. Most people don't care about having fun in races, all they want to do is make a lot of money in the easiest way possible. Another thing that keeps this race dead is the fact that most Roblox players are children. Children do not like challenging things, especially when they aren't good at them. So, is there a way to revive this race? Unfortunately, no. People don't like races like this one, so there's not much you can do about it. Everyone does what they want to in games, so this race is just left sitting completely forgotten. Air vehicles haven't just been forgotten by the community, but it seems like the developers also forgot them. I don't know how long it's been since they added air vehicles into this game, yet they still didn't add any new ones, so we're only left with 2 of them, and both are helicopters. One of them is just a cheap, relatively slow civilian helicopter, while the other one is a much faster one, but it's straight up an army helicopter which costs over $7 million. It's been like this for months, and it doesn't seem like the situation is going to change anytime soon. The dealership for air vehicles is called Helicopters and Planes, but ironically there's only these 2 helicopters and it doesn't seem like anything will change in the near future. Helicopters were somewhat popular during the Christmas event in this game because they made delivering presents much easier, but now there isn't a single reason to use them since they're really slow. Sure, the army helicopter is fast, but it is stupidly overpriced. If they added new air vehicles like planes and maybe even some kind of jets, that'd probably make air vehicles a slight bit popular, but something that would definitely make them more popular is an air race. Players could make money with their air vehicles, and why does that matter? Because as I mentioned earlier, money is the only thing they really care about. The 5th and final topic of this video, boats. Boats have been forgotten for a reason that's fairly similar to air vehicles. They're quite simply useless. They are slow, so that means that they're pretty boring and not good for transport, and there's also no races you can do with them, so you can't even have some sort of fun with them. As I said, they're simply useless. The only interesting boat in this game is the yacht, but even that thing isn't all that cool because it's extremely slow, which is kinda expected with yachts. The interior isn't detailed either, which is pretty much the only interesting part about yachts. They are basically mansions or houses on the water. And because of that, the only real use I see with the yacht is just flexing on other people because it is extremely expensive. I won't go into any more detail on why boats are forgotten because you probably get the idea with what I said right now. So let's see how we can fix this issue. An easy fix would be to simply add a boat race. That's a simple solution that adds a way to have a lot of fun with your friends and once again to make money, which as I said multiple times by now is something that this game's community really likes. However, just adding races isn't the only thing that has to be done to fix this issue. This game only has 3 boats and only the yacht is somewhat interesting. The other ones are just completely boring. Because of that, the developers would have to add more boats, preferably interesting ones. But they don't specifically have to be boats, they can be jet skis or maybe even as far as hovercrafts, which are just something so fascinating. But yeah, simple solutions like this would make boats a much more interesting part of this game. So that wraps up my list. 5 features in Driving Empire that were forgotten by the community. Keep in mind that the data is just from what I've seen while playing this game and that this video was made around March 15th, so things may change in the future. Either way, this is just meant to be a fun video for you to watch, so if you found this interesting in any way, I'm satisfied. It's really all I care about, just keeping people entertained with my videos. Anyways, that's the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.